Hi guys, in this video I wanna discuss with you to show you the importance of giving the right names for your variables and functions, alright? So let's get this code here. Imagine that you code this code, you have this code, you come to the tutor class, alright? And you show me this code. What you are seeing now is exactly what I am seeing, and what you are understanding is exactly what I am understanding. What I mean by that, this kind of code is a bit hard to understand the logic behind it. Why that? Because the name of the functions and variables, they are too short. So if I read it the first time, I cannot see the logic behind. So I have to go line by line. So how would I read these? All right. So there's a function x that passes a variable y and a number 100. So x receives y and z. All right. So here there are some test cases. Then if z less than 0, I cannot print, I cannot do it. Return y. Else some y and z. Okay? It's going to be very hard to anyone that is going to read your code to understand the logic behind it. Because imagine one thing, if you created this function there, you were motivated by something to create this function. The function, nothing else, nothing more, it is just like a black box. All right, so imagine that you have a black box that receives some stuff here, the inputs, right, which is in this case here is y and z, and this box has the name x that will do some calculations here and usually returns some number, which in this case can be y or the sum of y plus z. Alright? Plus of all of them seems to be a number. Okay? Remember one thing is one thing that you should start thinking from now. It's very important. You are not going to code only for you. You must code for you and others. This is very important to understand this. Okay? When you finish your course, you are going to work for someone else, all right? Or you are going to create your own company or work in a company. And when you are in this company, okay, imagine a company here, and you are this guy here. You are coding, you are creating your own code, all right? So imagine that you create this kind of code here. Then in the other day, other guy who's also a developer, okay, he's going to code and he needs to create a patch in your code, fix some bug, or even he must call your code here. If he's going to call your code, he must understand your code. If he comes here and he sees this kind of stuff, you are going to make his life very hard. Very hard, all right? And it happens the opposite. Imagine that this guy creates a code like this and you need to work over his code or use his code to do something else. Your life is going to be much harder, all right? So this is very important to code for others, so others can understand and not only you. So what should be this code? What is the logic behind? If we see this is very complicated to understand, all right? But let's open this code now. This code here is the same code as this one. It's the same logic, all right? So we have this if print return, if print return is the same thing. However, the name of the variables and functions, they already says what it's going to do. So what's going to happen? What is happening here? Ah, there's a function called deposit, which has a balance and amount. So only by reading these, I already know what does this function do or should do. All right. So when I go inside this function to read the logic, I am already inside the context of that function. Okay. So it's much easier for someone else that is reading your code, and even you, if you code these functions like this with these variables, when you come back to this code tomorrow or after tomorrow, you won't remember, and it's going to be very hard even for you to understand what you did. So let's just go through this. So there's a function deposit, so deposit an amount in this balance. All right, there are some test case, which is if the balance is 0, I make a deposit on $5 on this balance, should return 5. All right. Same way, if it's the balance is 10 and I put more 5, I have 15. If I have a balance 10 and I'm trying to deposit minus 5, it's going to be print I cannot do it and return 10. So if amount is negative, I cannot do it, return only balance, that's fine. If amount is bigger or equal 0, returns both of them, that's fine also. Withdraw, this function here that before was f of yz, I have no idea what is this, but now I can see, I can understand. Withdraw this amount of this balance. Alright, so even in the main code is much easier to understand. So imagine like you get this part here. It's very hard to understand what's going on with your code, but here you can even see what is happening with this account, with this balance. Started with balance 0, then was happened a deposit of 100, then 120, then minus 5, and so on. All right, so it's much easier to understand what happened. So when you create a new function, all right, you are motivated for, you have some reasons to create this function. So my suggestion for you, never do like this. It's very hard to understand. All right, so you can use names, doesn't matter if it's big as well. So for example, check if account is allowed to withdraw under constraints. Alright, so I give a balance and amount. Only by this name, doesn't matter. Your name, the name of your function should summarize what does this function do. Okay, so even for name a variable, so constraint check, let's suppose balance obeys don't know in rate restrictions equals false. Okay, so it's much easier to understand all this stuff. So try to use this kind of put a better names for your variables and functions. This is going to help you a lot.